Are you a film fan who loves the ultimate home video experience? Look no further than The Disconnected. Your host, Ryan Verrill, is your go-to source for the latest and most accurate information on home video releases, exclusive interviews with industry insiders and filmmakers, and has established a thriving community where every film and physical media enthusiast feels welcome. From hidden gems to blockbuster hits, The Disconnected brings you insider knowledge and a welcoming space to share your love of cinema. Watch every Thursday night at 9:30 Eastern, 6:30 Pacific for the live announcements show, and follow The Disconnected on social media to stay updated. Subscribe to The Disconnected on YouTube or on the podcast provider of your choice, and dive into a world where every movie night is an adventure.
If you're looking for more horror outside of the mainstream, look no further than Unsung Horrors, a podcast about underseen horror movies. I'm Lance.
And I'm Erica. Every other week, we'll cover a horror movie with fewer than 1,000 views on Letterboxd. We'll even give you double feature recommendations to pair with the movies we discuss.
From gothic to shot on video, from slashers to comedies, from giallo to J-horror, we'll cover all the subgenres. So join us as we unearth these hidden gems of horror.
Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, all at Unsung Horrors, available wherever you listen to podcasts. And part of the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network.
Hello everyone and welcome to the Kulturecast. I'm Chris Stachiw and I'm joined as always by the newest king of comedy, Kniss. Wow. I have a distinct feeling you did not like this film.
Yeah, I really didn't.
Well,
I don't know.
Oh, that's a bummer. On this episode, we're talking about Martin Scorsese's film from 1982, The King of Comedy. It's very much a companion piece to Taxi Driver in a way. The film stars Robert De Niro as Rupert Pupkin, an obsessed fan who takes his obsession with Jerry Lee Lewis's Jerry Langford, a late-night talk show host, to an unfathomable level.
I'm thinking as I'm sitting here now, well, maybe this is my big break. This is my big chance, you know what I mean?
You don't just walk onto a network show without experience. Now, I know it's an old hackneyed expression, but it happens to be the truth. You got to start at the bottom.
I know, that's where I am, at the bottom.
That's a perfect place to start.
So will you please give your warmest greetings to the newest king of comedy, Rupert Pupkin.
His name is Rupert Pupkin. He lives in a world of make-believe.
Oh, Jerry, I love this guy. Always coming up with these great lines. I love him.
Nobody can remember his name.
Mr. Pupkin. Mr. Pupnik.
Mr. Puffer.
Rupert.
Pupkin, P-U-P-K-I-N.
But by 11:30 tonight, the whole world will know that Rupert Pupkin is the new king of comedy. Robert De Niro, Jerry Lewis, in a Martin Scorsese picture. The king of comedy.
All right, Eric. So
Jerry.
So, Eric, you'd never seen this film before. I'd never seen this film before. I'm curious, watching it for the first time, what did you think?
It feels like it definitely, I don't know. It definitely feels like a precursor to all those movies that come out now that are basically exercises in how to make you uncomfortable, while showing you...
I've never felt so uncomfortable watching a film.
Oh, like when you were watching this movie?
Yeah.
Yeah. It made me really, really uncomfortable for the majority of it. And maybe that's why I didn't like it.
You know what it reminded me of? It reminded me a lot of Meet the Parents.
Yeah, but like not funny, just like uncomfortable and unnerving.
I think this movie is funny. I mean, it's very much like black humor. Like it's not like fucking like it's not like Airplane. You know, it's very much like very dark.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely, I don't know how to describe this movie. It's not as bleak as Taxi Driver, but I don't know. I think it's almost harder to swallow just because of how much more I feel like at least I can relate to the character in this movie. Like relating to the character in Taxi Driver is a little bit harder to do just because of the sort of extremeness of the situation. But the character in this movie, I mean, Robert De Niro's character in this movie, at least, is, I don't know, it's fame and recognition and really sort of validation is really more what this movie is about than anything else. It's something that everybody wants and needs. And so to have that sort of desperate need for validation and recognition and sort of package that all up in the guise of, fame, I think is like something that's really, really, I don't know. I think it's very topical. It's very much like of the times now. Right. And I can sort of see why this movie didn't really hit as well as maybe it could have when it came out. This movie came out in 82?
82, yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean, I don't know. I think this movie definitely plays better now than it did when it came out. Just based on, the way that fame plays a role in society and everything, I think if you made this movie now, you could make it even more insane than it already is. Like, I don't know. It's hard for me to describe, like, the feeling that you get from watching this movie. It's almost like you get this sort of like, I don't know. I mean, at least me, I sort of connected with the character in a way that made it so that I understand where he's coming from. And it's definitely like watching a train wreck for most of the movie, like where you just I don't know, you just can't look away. But at the same time, it's very cringy, this movie. Everything about it is very cringy. I don't know. I don't know. This movie, it's hard. It's hard for me to describe because, I don't know, it made me really...
This movie really is, for a lot of the film, it's just Taxi Driver.
Yeah.
It's, like you said, it's a less bleak Taxi Driver, and I don't like saying that about films, like just straight, like one for one comparing them to something else, because that like completely makes me feel like I just told no one to watch this film. But, for me, I would say that this is like now my second or third favorite Scorsese film. This film like really resonated with me in a way that films haven't in a while. Because, I mean, the way that De Niro portrays his character, like, yeah, he takes it to an extreme of kidnapping Jerry Lewis and all that, and his reality is blurred. Like, the line between reality and fiction, especially towards the end of the film, is effectively blurred to the point of there not being a line anymore. But I mean, like you said, we can all sympathize and understand where he's coming from, because we've all had that or felt that at some point in our life. We don't go to that extreme.
Yeah, it's the extreme of we're going to push. It's the being so delusional and wanting something so badly that then you can push beyond what the limits of, like polite society would allow. Like things that you just wouldn't even think of doing because you're like, what? No, that's like super intrusive on another human being. Or like I don't know. The thing that really got me about De Niro's character and some of the other lesser characters in the movie too, is the sense of entitlement that everybody in the movie seems to have. And you can see that mirrored in our society now, like really, really heavily. And so...
Well, because a lot of people feel that, like, as fans of something, we are entitled to that person's time.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Because, like, well, we as the fans of Stranger Things made, Finn Wolfhard and Millie Bobby Brown, we made them big time TV stars. So if I see them on the street, I'm entitled to an autograph or a picture with them. Like, that just happened to Finn Wolfhard like last week. Like, okay, hold on. No, you're fucking not. Like, you are not.
Oh, there was a thing where a bunch of people swarmed him or something? Or?
Well, he was like, he essentially, he could have given people an autograph, but he dipped instead. Because he was, trying to go to a hotel, and, they were, waiting outside of his hotel, and he was like, no, I'm just gonna, go in the hotel. And,
well, and he's, what? He's, 15, 16 now?
Dude, he's, 13.
Oh, yeah. I mean, whatever,
age doesn't matter. That's what this whole film is about. That's what one of the major themes of this film is are we, as fans of something, are we entitled to that person's time?
Yeah, exactly.
Are we entitled to some of their time? Do they have to give us some of their time because we made them who they are, success, financially? And obviously it's a complex question, right? Because it's, the chicken before the egg. Without us, these people may not, quote unquote, be successful, even if they do have, natural God-given talent. So
sure.
So that's what this whole, that's what this whole film is about, is about how do we as fans, what is too far? Where is the line? Why, let's make sure we don't cross the line. But in this character, Rupert Pupkin, crosses the line in a way that is insane.
Well, and then continues to cross the line, and I don't know. It's definitely, this movie's definitely an exercise in how far is too far.
Well, too far is kidnapping someone.
Yeah, that's definitely too far. But I mean, I don't know. I can totally see this. I can see this movie happening in real life. I can see this being a thing that could actually happen, almost too easily, So I don't know. It's definitely, like I said, I can understand why this movie didn't do so well when it first came out, and I almost think that it plays better now than it maybe did back in the day. I don't know. There's still something about this movie that just rubs me the wrong way that I just do not like.
I mean, to be honest, isn't that the point?
Yeah. Maybe that is the point. Is maybe you're not supposed to like this. Maybe it's supposed to make you uncomfortable to the point where, watching it is uncomfortable for you. So, I mean, I don't know.
I was about to say, if you don't find this uncomfortable, I think that's more of a problem.
Yeah. If you're watching this movie and going oh, this guy's got the right idea, you're definitely in the camp of people that need to not be, I don't know, that need to not be around other famous people. I guess. I don't know. This is definitely an interesting movie. The weird thing about this movie, and this is the first movie in Scorsese month, I didn't even know about this movie until you put it on the list. And this movie definitely doesn't feel like a Scorsese movie for most of it. At least it didn't to me. Definitely in the ways that I think about a Scorsese movie, this movie doesn't really hit a lot of those points. At least not in the ways that would normally be considered, I don't know, Scorsesean. Is that a word? It's a word I just made up. It's now officially a word. Scorsesean is a thing. I don't know. It definitely doesn't feel like a Scorsese movie, at least to me. And I'll be honest, I'm not a super huge Scorsese aficionado. I'm not even really that crazy of a fan of his movie.
The audio commentary. It's a dying art form, but here at One Track Mind, I, your wonky yet affable host Ryan Luis Rodriguez, analyze film through the prism of these embryonic forms of podcasting, one audio commentary at a time. Masterpieces, crapster pieces, live action, animation, cult classics, films literally no one has ever heard of. No track is too small and no track is too big. Join me and my guests from the entertainment world as we keep these features alive every other Tuesday. Hey, who else is going to discuss Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey one week and Citizen Kane the next? Us, that's who. Sure, you have to put up with my voice, but there's a certain give and take in this industry. That's One Track Mind, part of the Someone's Favorite Productions family and available wherever you get your podcasts.
Do you love movies? So do I. What's up, y'all? It's KB, and I love movies, inviting you to listen to The Conversation, a film podcast where passion meets perspective and opinion. From the old school to the new, I invite a guest on to discuss the movies that thrill us, challenge us, break our hearts, or even blow our minds. There's always new episodes dropping wherever you get your podcasts. So join the conversation. We don't just watch movies. We love talking about them too. The Conversation with KB Loves Movies, a part of Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network.
Movies in general, but I can appreciate the craft and the ability to make the films that he's made and his mark on cinema in general. The guy's a legend and will always be a legend, and for good reason. I don't know. This is definitely an interesting movie that I definitely am glad that I saw, but it's also another one of those movies where I don't think I need to see it again. I don't know. This movie made me more uncomfortable than some of the gnarly movies that we watched a couple months ago. And I mean, kudos to De Niro and to Scorsese for pulling that off. After watching this movie, did a little bit of research and found out that Scorsese and De Niro didn't work together for 7 years after this movie because it was just too stressful and messed them both up emotionally too much to work together again for a while.
Even though Scorsese says that this is his favorite collaboration with De Niro.
Yeah. And honestly, this is one of the best De Niro movies that I've seen probably ever. I think I actually might like his performance in this better than I like his performance in Taxi Driver.
Well, in this film, again, a lot of it comes back to, with this film, believability and relatability. We can't relate to Travis Bickle in Taxi Driver. No. But you can relate to and understand where the character of Rupert Pupkin is coming in. I mean, the one thing that made me cringe the most in this film was every time they kept saying his last name wrong. Because you just know that that's killing his character on the inside.
Oh, totally. Because his name is everything, and he says it multiple times in the movie. He's always referring to himself by his full name. He says it at the beginning of the movie in the scene in the limo with Jerry. He says my name's Rupert Pupkin, and that may not mean a lot to you, but it means everything to me. So the whole movie, it's little things like that. They set up these little things like that throughout the entire movie, and then they just are slowly tightening the screw, and it just becomes more and more and more and more uncomfortable and harder and harder to watch.
Well, let's be honest here. The most uncomfortable part of the film, without a doubt, is when he shows up at Jerry Langford's summer home.
Yeah, that was gnarly.
It's beyond uncomfortable.
Well, because it's why would you show up? What the who does that?
Because his reality and his fictional relationship with Jerry Langford are becoming one. I mean, you see in a couple scenes before, you see him having this conversation with him where he's like, oh yeah, come to my summer home and, we'll get together and, can I bring this girl with me? Oh yeah, she's someone special. Yeah, she means the world to me. He's having that fictional conversation, and the problem with reality and fiction and reality are fine, separate, but when you act on fiction in your reality is when it becomes a problem. And at the beginning of the film, Jerry Langford even says to Rupert Pupkin, Rupert Pupkin says, I've gone over this conversation 1,000,000 times in my mind. And Jerry Langford asks him, is this how you thought it would go? And he's like, not in a million. Did he say not in a million years?
Yeah, not in a million years.
So that, it's his reality and the fiction are becoming one, and we'll talk about that when we get to the end of the film, but he shows up because he honestly believes that, he is entitled to.
Yeah, he's definitely he has this break with reality that basically he just can't reconcile, his ability to separate fact and fiction, his fantasies from reality, become impossible as the movie progresses. And I don't know, it's different. I mean, the other thing that I was thinking about while I was watching this movie, besides Taxi Driver, was The Shining. Not because the movies are very similar in a lot of ways, because they couldn't be further apart from each other. But the character of Jack and the character of Rupert sort of fall down this similar, like, break with reality. Now, that totally happens for different reasons. You know, The Shining has, like, the whole supernatural aspect of it and everything that sort of, I think, at least for me, makes that transition, or makes the, you know, sort of like witnessing of somebody like having a complete break from reality easier, because then it is under the guise of like, oh, there's this crazy supernatural thing that's happening, and like it's driving him insane. And the character of Rupert in this movie like has nothing like that. There's no there's no what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know. My brain is full of hot sauce and it's not working. I don't know. There's no excuse. There's no excuse for the way that he's acting. It's just he has lost all concept of, I don't know, lost all concept of like how to, you know, be your own person and live your own life without the validation of other people and without, you know, the need for fame and recognition and all of that stuff. Which is like really sad to watch, and then like very tough. It's very tough to like deal with that, you know. It's very tough for him to deal with that. And I think for a lot of people watching the movie, it's very tough for us to like watch that happen and, you know, sort of like be unable to like do anything about it. Like you can't yell at him and be like, dude, come on, like be normal. Stop being so weird. Like just live your own goddamn life. Like you're not, you know, he doesn't have anybody there like telling him to like stop being such a fucking weirdo. This movie made me yell at my TV more than, you know, I don't know, more than any other movie that I can think of that I've watched. And a lot of that is just because of how like his character was just so like, just so unable to like do anything that was like remotely normal, that I was just like, dude, come on. I couldn't deal with it. It was, I don't know.
Well, no, I mean, that's the issue with this film being so just kind of like unapologetically unsettling and upsetting, is that it's just you want to ask yourself, and you want to ask the character of Rupert Pupkin, like, why are you doing this? Like, at some point, just take no as no. And no means no, man. And like, I mean, it's just the character just spins out of control. And by the end of the film, I mean, you have this character whose connection to reality is so frayed and so tenuous. His connection to reality is so tenuous at best that you seriously wonder how real or how fictional the ending of the film is. Yeah,
it's definitely one of those endings where you're like, is this a fantasy or is this reality? And
like Taxi Driver.
Yeah, I mean, I think with Taxi Driver, it's a little bit more effective as an ambiguous ending, and I think for this movie, at least in my mind, it's definitely a fictional ending. It's definitely his fantasy that he's, you know, sort of like playing out in his head. But I mean, that's just me. I'm sure other people can find ways to interpret it in the opposite fashion. But I don't know. That's a beauty about ambiguous endings, is they could be, they could be anything.
Well, let's take a quick break, and when we get back, we'll finish up talking about the ending of the film and the film itself. Who is Carl Kolchak?
He's a reporter.
Now that is news, Vincenzo. News! And we are a newspaper. We are supposed to print news, not suppress it.
With the INS.
What's an INS?
Independent news service, sir. Founded in 1904 by Enrico Paluzzi.
Who seems to have a nose for the strange and unusual.
Well, last year in Las Vegas, I uncovered a series of murders that turned out to have been committed by a vampire.
And what is the Kolchak Tapes?
It's a podcast.
All about Carl Kolchak.
What's a Kolchak?
The Night Stalker.
And where can you get it?
On iTunes, Stitcher Radio, and at www.kolchaktapes.com.
As foolish a game as any that Gory the Ghoul could make up.
Movies have become a portal to a vast and growing pop culture universe, but you don't need to go over the rainbow to get your pop culture fix. Just head to Rainbow Comics, Cards, and Collectibles. They are your one-stop shop for comics, toys, posters, games, and more. Not a pop culture nerd? No problem. They have something for everyone, including a wide array of sports cards, collectible card games, even memorabilia. Stop by one of their 2 locations today. The flagship location at 3310 South Minnesota Avenue, Sioux Falls, South Dakota, or their newest location at 1501 Pine Lake Road, Suite 17, Lincoln, Nebraska. Most importantly, don't forget to add them on Facebook for pop culture news, weekly live videos, and special events.
Here's what some people are saying about the Projection Booth podcast.
Week after week, I'm mesmerized by the focus given great films and questionable films alike. But every episode is a learning and entertaining experience.
This is hands down the best movie podcast. They cover so many different genres across so many years, from obscure movies to blockbusters.
If there's only one podcast about movies and cinema that you listen to, make it this one.
The Projection Booth Podcast, with new episodes available every week at projectionboothpodcast.com.
All right, we are back, and we are continuing to talk about the... God damn it. Oh, my God, you turd. Well, let's talk about the end of the film. So the way that the film ends is after kidnapping Jerry Lewis's character, after going to jail, after... and that's the thing about the end of the film, is he's able to give this monologue on TV. The audience is behind it. He tells the audience, hey, remember this evening, because my ass is going to jail because I kidnapped Jerry Lewis. And they laugh because they think he's making it up. And he's like, well, come tomorrow, you'll see. And then he goes to jail for 6 years, and when he comes out of jail, he's like this massive celebrity.
Yeah.
The way I looked at it is, the ending of the film is reality.
Yeah, I mean...
Because, it actually, it makes sense. Because, that's what Jerry Lewis says in the film. He says, that's the way this system works, is you claw and you scrape to get everything you want, and sometimes it happens and sometimes it doesn't. And but there's no rhyme or reason sometimes, and sometimes you just have to make your own way. And in a way, he kind of does. The ending not being...
Hello, my name is Kevin Tudor, and I'm one of the 3 hosts of Almost Major, a film podcast dissecting many major indie studios and the films they release. Every week, myself, Charlie Nash, and Bryden Doyle discuss overlooked, forgotten, or bona fide classic indie films via studio-specific miniseries. We've previously covered numerous films from Artisan Entertainment, Lionsgate Films, and New Line Cinema. Titles including The Blair Witch Project, American Psycho, Dogville, But I'm a Cheerleader, Saw, Requiem for a Dream, and Ringmaster, the Jerry Springer film. Anyways, we have a fun time every week, and we hope you will join us. Subscribe to Almost Major wherever you get your podcasts. Now proudly a part of the Someone's Favorite Productions Podcast Network.
Hello and welcome to Tumbleweeds and TV Cowboys. My name is Hunter. In this podcast, I'll be joined by a different guest each week to discuss a classic Western movie or TV show. I've been a fan of classic Westerns for as long as I can remember, and in recent years they've become very nostalgic for me. I love the aesthetic, the tropes, and I love seeing different filmmakers' takes on them. At their best, they're incredibly entertaining, rewatchable, and some of my all-time favorite movies are Westerns. We'll mostly focus on Western movies made in Hollywood, but we'll also be covering spaghetti Westerns, and one thing I'm very excited to get into are Western TV shows. I've got some amazing guests coming on the show, film professors, historians, and podcasters. And Tumbleweeds and TV Cowboys is part of the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network, and many guests on the show will be from other shows on the network. Thanks for listening.
Real is... I think more interesting, but the ending being reality, I think is much more cynical.
Yeah. I think, I don't know. Actually, I think the ending being a fantasy, I think could even be bleaker than it being real, because I think if the ending is his fantasy of how he wants things to play out, ultimately it just means that he has learned nothing and is still finding ways to reconcile what he wants with the person that he is and with what he's done. And I almost think that's more messed up than...
But think about, like you said, like if this film plays better in society the way it is now, think about fucking teen moms. Think about shit like that. If this movie
comes out now, the ending is not a fantasy at all. The ending is real life.
Right, and that's what I think is like, it makes it way more cynical if the ending is real, because like that's the way society is now. Is we deify these fucking people that have, like, the Kardashians. Like, what have they actually done for society? Like, Nothing. They're not talented as human beings. They're not talented actors or anything. But yet, you know, like, people are obsessed with them and they have a TV show of their own. Like, that for me is what makes this film that much more depressing, is that it feeds into that is the way society is.
Yeah.
And his character gets what he wants by doing something so absolutely insane.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Maybe that's the reason why I like to think that the ending is a fantasy, because I think maybe just me personally, I can live with the fact that, you know, it's him that's still wrong at the end of the day instead of society that's wrong at the end of the day. But I don't know. That's just me, I guess. I don't know. That's my interpretation. And
that's a personal thing, right?
Yeah, maybe it's just I'm projecting my own hopes and dreams for society onto, you know, the movie. Just like I would much prefer it to be it's De Niro that's wrong and weird and hasn't learned anything, and not everyone else. But, you know, maybe in reality it is everybody else, and that's the whole point. Maybe that's why this movie is so...
Look at society. Look at who our president is.
Oh, no, it's bad.
Right? Like that in and of itself plays into the ending of this film. Like, you do all these crazy things and you get exactly what you want.
Yeah.
Like, that's kind of what this whole movie is about, is the desperate need. And again, not to get political, because this podcast is about as apolitical as it gets, but normally you don't get rewarded for being fucking crazy. But
yeah,
Rupert Pupkin gets rewarded for doing insane shit in this film.
It's true. He does.
And that's why, I like to think, because I know you and I both like dark endings and, like, bleak endings.
Yeah.
And for me, the bleaker ending for the film, for once, is reality as opposed to fiction.
Yeah, I think you could be right. Honestly, the more that we sit here and talk about this, and the more I am thinking about the movie and why I think the ending is one way as opposed to the other, is probably a lot to do with me just projecting how I want it to be, and not necessarily how it is. But at the same time, maybe that's why the ending is ambiguous at all in the first place. Is it's not really, you know, we can all sort of like put our own spin on it. We can all sort of take our own feelings and our own, you know, sort of thoughts about society and then people, individuals in general, and we can sort of throw them all into this movie or whatever and see maybe your personal outlook on life is going to sort of like have some bearing on, you know, the way that you see this movie and the way that you sort of interpret the ending, which, you know, is definitely awesome conceptually and really well done. You know, if it's making us have pretty much a conversation entirely about how uneasy this movie made us feel, and then how the ending of the movie basically just compounds that feeling to such a degree where, you know, we can't even agree on whether or not like whatever is happening is real or imagined. And then on top of that, which one is worse? So
I mean, like, you have a film like Taxi Driver, right, where reality is, spoilers if you haven't seen a film that's 40 plus years old, he dies at the end.
Yeah.
That's reality. Fiction, like, his like disconnection from reality at the end of the film is he survives, He's righted all the wrongs. He saves Jodie Foster's character. He goes on to essentially go back to his normal daily life. And like fiction in that film is much better than reality, because if you care about that character, obviously I guess you'd rather him survive. I don't know. His character is so unhinged that it's probably better off that he doesn't. And then in this film, you have kind of the flip where reality is more horrifying than fiction.
Yeah, no, I can definitely see that.
Which is, again, I think that's why, like you said at the beginning of this episode, the thing that makes this film have a topical nature is that it still is relevant. Like that is still a relevant theme. That's still a relevant concept to right now, especially. Is people getting rewarded for just doing really just like bombastic, crazy, just like next level insane stuff, like kidnapping of talk show hosts so you can get your 15 minutes of fame. That's literally what the film is about, is how do you get your 15 minutes of fame? Better to be a king for a night than a schmuck for a lifetime.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the whole film, is how do you get your 15 minutes of fame? And can you parlay that 15 minutes of fame into 30 minutes of fame, and then 45 minutes of fame, and then can you turn that into a lifetime of fame?
Yeah,
and that's what this whole film is about. And that's what society has become, i.e. the fucking Real Housewives, Kim Kardashian, 16 and Pregnant. Like, that's all what society is people turning 15 minutes of fame into a lifetime. And that's what this film talks about.
Yeah.
And it's like you said, you hadn't seen this film or even heard of this film. And I think in regards to Scorsese's greater library of work, that's a huge bummer that this film isn't talked about in similar tones as like Gangs of New York or Goodfellas or The Departed.
Yeah, I mean, all those movies are, of the past,
25 years.
20 years, 25 years. So it's, I don't know. His earlier work is, definitely.
But everybody knows Taxi Driver.
Yeah, that's true. Everybody knows Taxi Driver. And this really does feel like a companion piece to Taxi Driver.
And I think De Niro is better in this film than he is in Taxi Driver.
Yeah, I think, I don't know, it's different. But yeah, I think you're right. I think it's definitely more effective.
Yeah, his performance is more effective and much more believable.
Yeah. Well, I think it's because the character that he's playing is much more closer to, what we know and can relate to, It's interesting, man. It's definitely a weird movie that I never knew about, and then watched it and I didn't like it. But talking about it with you, which I kind of knew that talking about it with you was going to not necessarily change my opinion about whether or not I like the movie, but it's definitely helped me to better understand why I don't like the movie. And it's not because the movie is bad. It's because the movie is effective at pointing out the things that I already have huge problems with in society.
And again, if you liked what the film is talking about, that's the real problem.
Yeah. No, yeah.
It's meant to make you feel uneasy.
If you think that this movie has a happy ending, you are sadly mistaken.
Because either ending, reality or fiction, is unhappy.
Yeah, it's not. It's definitely not one of those movies where it's like, because a few small turns of the screw and this movie turns into a weird comedy, where it has a happy ending where the guy, gets, the thing that he always wanted and lives happily ever after or whatever. But they play this movie so awkwardly and so uncomfortably the entire time that it's, I don't know. It made Scorsese and De Niro so uncomfortable making this movie that they didn't work together for 7 years afterwards because they were like, okay, maybe we need to take a break. This was rough.
Well, and Jerry Lewis and De Niro were never near each other on set unless they were filming, so that De Niro could get that certain aspect of his performance when he's around Jerry Lewis. Everything about this film is it's so believable and real, and that's what works, is because, like you said, they didn't work together for 7 years because they clearly touched upon something. that is very tangible and real. So what would you give this film out of 5?
God, I'm gonna give this movie like a 4 out of 5. It's a really effective movie. It suffers from some like 80s isms that like I just kind of see now, and any movie like that's really from the 80s, especially if it's like set in New York, in the 80s, and I don't know. There's some things about the movie that I'm just like, okay, whatever. That's like every 80s movie has this shit in it, and like, who cares? Like, it's not important. But goddamn, did this movie make me really uncomfortable? It made me so uncomfortable that I like had to kind of start doing other things while watching the movie. Like, I couldn't just sit there and watch the movie. Like, the first time I watched this movie, I fell asleep, and then the second time I watched it, I was so uncomfortable that I literally had to start doing other things to not like watch this movie, which is super weird. So I don't know. This movie definitely hit a chord with me that I did not expect. Well made, really well acted, but just like a few, nitpicky, just kind of like idiosyncronicities. Is that a word? I don't know. It's a word now.
Idiosyncrasies.
Yeah, that one. Yeah, just some stuff in it, that just kind of bothers me about movies in general, that just kind of a lot of movies like fall into, the same sort of tropes and, things like that. But yeah, I don't know. What do you think about it?
I would give it a 5 out of 5. I think, again, like this has become one of those films that like I'm going to tell people about and tell them like to check out. And be like, oh, you like Scorsese and you like De Niro, huh? Then you should totally check out The King of Comedy, because I guarantee you probably haven't even seen it. Which is a massive shame that you probably haven't seen it. But once you watch it, I think it's a great film, and I think it's a film that hits every note correctly and does something that, like you said, is kind of hard to do, which is be uncomfortable.
Hey, this is Jason Kleberg from the Force 5 podcast, a show that forces a guest to come up with a movie-themed top 5 list topic, and then we reveal our picks on air. Top 5 heist films, top 5 tearjerkers, top 5 movie dogs. Every show you'll be asking yourself, what would be on my list? Guests include directors, screenwriters, actors, podcasters, musicians, authors, and even a professional wrestler. Subscribe to the Force 5 podcast, and you won't just be a listener, you'll be a list nerd. The Force 5 podcast, available wherever you're listening now.
Comfortable without like going towards horror or going towards just like the usual tropes. Like, this film instills uncomfortableness in the audience in a way that is, I don't know, that's really good, and it's really successful, and it's really effective. So what do you think the film has on Rotten Tomatoes?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, it seems like one of those movies that would almost fly too far under the radar. That like it would almost be like a problem. I don't know. I'm gonna go with like high 70s, low 80s.
Film has a 90 on Rotten Tomatoes.
Damn. I mean, that's what I would give this movie, is probably about a 90. But yeah, I guess I don't give the critics on Rotten Tomatoes enough credit sometimes.
Largely misunderstood upon its release, The King of Comedy today looks eerily prescient and features a fine performance by Robert De Niro as a strangely sympathetic psychopath. Yeah, I'm sure. I would agree 100%.
Yeah.
So we'll take one more break, and we'll play a preview for the next Kulturecast.
So much has happened since I last saw you. I lost my hammer, like yesterday, so that's still pretty fresh. And then I went on a journey of self-discovery, where I met you. Where are we? You have no idea. Hela, the goddess of death, has invaded Asgard.
Oh, I've missed this.
And you and I had a fight recently.
Did I win?
No, I won, easily.
Doesn't sound right.
Well, it's true.
Asgard is dead. And it'll be reborn in my image. I thought you'd be glad to see me.
I need to stop her here and now to prevent Ragnarok, the end of everything. So I'm putting together a team.
Like the old days.
Surprise! This will be such fun.
Hello. Hi.
He's a fighter.
Here we go! I'm not a queen or a monster. I'm the goddess of death. What were you the god of again?
We're the same, you and I. Just a couple of hot-headed fools.
Yeah, same. Hulk like fire, Thor like water.
Well, kind of both like fire.
But Hulk like raging fire, Thor like smoldering fire.
That's right. On the next Kulturecast, we're going to be talking about the third Thor film, which also happens to feature the big green goofball, the Hulk, Thor Ragnarok. So, Eric, what have you been up to?
The Dodgers lost the World Series, and I'm sad about it. That is all. Like, just a horror movie month is now over, but I'm still watching horror movies because horror movie month is every month as far as I'm concerned. I don't know. I never finished Mindhunter, and so I started that again, and so I'm working through Mindhunter right now, and Mindhunter is freaking awesome.
It is. It's really good.
Yeah. What about you? What have you been doing?
Finished up Stranger Things 2. Been watching stuff on Shudder. Rewatched the Poughkeepsie tapes again. Still rules. Still is just awesome fucking movie. If you've never seen it, go watch it. It's finally on Blu-ray, thank God, as opposed to having to watch a 10-year-old rip from like Starz or some other streaming service. If you have Shudder and you've never seen the progenitor of the found footage film mockumentary genre, you should go check out BBC's Ghost Watch. It's absolutely insane, and it came out before Blair Witch Project did. Outside of that, not a whole lot.
I've been watching a lot of shit on Shudder recently. Like,
did you watch The Core yet?
No. What is that?
I think it's like a weekly like.
Oh, I did watch that. The episode on Halloween or whatever.
With Adam Green and Adam Green, who's like everywhere now.
Yeah, that guy and the chick from Halloween 4.
Yeah, and Halloween, the Rob Zombie one as well.
Yeah.
Shudder is pretty great. I have not been disappointed with my monthly purchase of Shudder.
Yeah. Especially me being somebody who definitely talks shit on Shudder.
But let's be honest here. There's nothing wrong with talking shit if it's not good.
Yeah, they've definitely stepped up new content and stuff. And there's a lot of really cool things that are on Shudder that are the things that I always wanted to be on Shudder. There's a lot of cool new stuff that's on Shudder that's either Shudder originals or exclusives, and then there's a lot of cool old stuff like Ghost Watch and things like that are the types of stuff that Shudder needs to have, the really cool classic weird movies that aren't just the who gives a shit grindhouse movies and C and D level slashers of the 80s that only a handful of people know about or care about. It's this stuff that's the unsung hero movies, the movies that basically made it possible to have other movies made later on because they either had the idea first or sort of paved the way for that kind of shit and everything. So Shudder's really done a good job of curating their lineup, I think, for their customers, because the people who are going to purchase Shudder and pay the money every month or every year or whatever to have a horror movie only streaming service are expecting certain things, and I think they're finally starting to deliver on what their clientele wants.
Yeah, and I mean, let's be honest here, the reason that Netflix has been so successful is because of original content. I think that's the crux of a lot of these streaming services is original content. I mean, Starz, Showtime, HBO, they've been around forever, and they're getting into the streaming service, and they are in the streaming service, and they were making original content, and now you have Netflix and Amazon and Shudder, and they all create original content, and you have, is it IFC has original content? Like, original content is what drives people to your streaming service after they've watched everything that they want to see.
Yeah, I mean, the big ticket items are always going to be cool. You're going to go on, and then all of a sudden Jurassic Park is on fucking Netflix, and you're going to be like, oh shit, I guess I'm watching Jurassic Park again. But, you can only watch Jurassic Park so many times before you want to do something else, and then you end up watching something like Stranger Things or Mindhunter or House of Cards. Rip Kevin Spacey.
Rip. Get the fuck out of here, raper.
Oh,
God,
shit.
Get the fuck out of here. You know what? And you know what, though? Netflix did the right thing. They severed ties with him.
It's a tough situation to be in. I don't want to swing the, you're a rapist hammer at Kevin Spacey, at least me personally, because I wasn't fucking there. It was 30 years ago. I don't know what the fuck happened. But at the same time, it really doesn't look good. It's I'm not going to call Kevin Spacey a rapist, but I'm going to say that, he definitely put himself in a position to where at least one person that we know of can make those allegations. And that certainly doesn't look good. And he may be a completely different person now, and that's great. And, but that still doesn't change, possibly horrible shit that you may or may not have done in the past or attempted to do in the past. And there should be consequences for that kind of shit. So good on you, Netflix. And I mean, whatever, dude. Kevin Spacey is going to be fine, dude. He's fucking Kevin Spacey, for God's sakes. In a fucking couple of years, people will forget that he ever tried to molest somebody, and he'll be back fucking doing movies again.
And that's the saddest part.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Unless this time is the first time in a long time where we all as a society wake up to this and are like, all right, this shit needs to stop.
Dude,
that'll happen.
It's not because
I know
our president was basically accused of sexual assault by 13 different people, one of whom was his ex-wife. So, I mean, and we fucking elected him president anyways.
Please head on over to cultureshock.com where you can find out more about today's show.
Good transition.
Yeah,
if you want to see things that don't make you sad.
Yeah, right. Please head on over to Netflix, Shudder, God, anything. Don't turn on the news, folks. Jesus.
Yeah, don't turn on the news because it's all sadness and fucked upness, and god damn it, how the fuck are we still breathing?
It's true. You can follow me on Twitter at CultureStash. You can follow Eric on Twitter at Tychomagnetics. You can follow the website on Twitter at CultureShocked. Head on over to iTunes where you can rate and review the episode, and to Patreon where you can kick a couple dollars our way. Those links are in the episode description. Donors get access to unreleased episode DVDs and a chance to guest co-host a Kulturecast. Big thanks, as always, to Eric and Wavoka for allowing us to use their song Lament, and to my good friend Da Decipher for allowing us to use his song Two Step.
You know how we do, I'm just two-step, drink in my right hand, phone in my other hand, getting to the money, oh man, two-step, posted with the crew, yeah, you know how we do.
Hey, two-step, you know what I'm saying, 1, 2, 1, 2, Benjamin, aka the Black T, you know what I'm saying, catch me with my crew every day.